Our next guest, I guess it's easy to say, he's a heat miser.
Probably. I think that's a good description.
Don Button joins us on the show now. He's the founder of Hellfire Detroit. Great to have you with us. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show.
Okay, how did you develop a love for hot sauce?
Well, I guess I always had an addiction for hot sauce. I would put it on almost every food item I would eat. But I I would say that I didn't really, I just used it like a food, like it was always around until I started paying attention to the ingredients a lot. And I would question the amount of salt and sugar in it. And so I always wondered if I could make a healthier hot sauce that where like I didn't need to be concerned about whether this is healthy or not. I just want it to be healthy food.
So, with that, you start to develop your own hot sauce, and I'm sure in the beginning, were you thinking that you wanted to take this to market, or was it just you wanted something better for yourself?
No, at first it was I just wanted something better for myself, but this kind of happened all accidentally. I in 2014 I decided to make hot sauce as Christmas gifts for friends and family,
I love
and
that, by the way, because
thank
gifts like that actually mean more, right, than just
Hmm.
buying more crap from the store.
for sure. And that actually is a big motivation of mine. I'm like really a minimalist, and like the whole holiday season of gifting and pretty much annoys me. But so I thought I want to make something I can give that I love cooking, and so I wanted to give something handmade, homemade. And so I waited till the last minute, 2 days before Christmas. I went and bought as many exotic peppers as I could find, and I spent the whole day and night, like till like 2 in the morning, grilling peppers, tasting them, eating them, and that's all I ate all day. And
What? How is your stomach still
it
alive?
wasn't it wasn't good. Um, so I went to bed that night, and I was literally sweating, and I had a dream that night that I owned a hot sauce company called Hellfire Detroit. And I woke up the next morning and thought, that's an amazing name. And I checked the .com to see if it's available. It was. I just bought the .com on the spot. And my background is in marketing and branding. I've owned a marketing and branding firm for like 20 years. So with a name, I decided to go into my office and design labels on Christmas Eve.
No
And
Wow.
way.
so I took the gift to my friend's house first before I went to my family's and handed the bottle, and the whole family just went crazy over it. And that's all we talked about for 3 hours. And then we went to my family, and the same thing happened. And I was just really amazed by the power of it. And so once the new year went by, I decided I'm going to give this a go. Everybody was telling me I should launch this thing, and so I did it. And I have a marketing background, so I have the skills to do that kind of stuff. I've done it for other brands. So 11 months later, I launched the product. I'll back up a little bit. I Right after the new year, I met with a chef and went over the recipes with him. He analyzed them, he liked them, and then it took 11 months. I launched in November at Making It in Michigan. It's a food entrepreneur show in Lansing. And I would admit I didn't really know what I was doing, but I
Are
ended
you
up,
are you kind of happy about that though, Dom? Because if you knew what you were getting into, would you have done it?
you know what? I approached the whole project basically like a passion project, but I just followed what happened in the dream. So I would say I didn't view it like a businessman. Like, I could cut corners and um, save some money here on the labels or use a different bottle. It's cheaper. I To me, I just wanted to create what I thought was the best product available, and I didn't really concern myself with the costs and all that. But I do think that was the reason why it gained attention. And so at the show in November where I launched, I ended up winning best of show for quality, branding, flavor, ability to go to market. And again, I didn't know there was a competition. So it was sort of all accidental. But again, and I think the focus on quality is what really made it stand out.
I'm because some of the other people that probably knew it was a competition and lost to you, to hear you say that, they're like,
I,
"What? What?
I
Come
know
on!"
I probably shouldn't say that, but
No, but it really is. But it's the care and the quality. But also, I'm sure that as someone that had a marketing background, you knew that there was a market for this.
oh, for sure. I mean, I was new at this, and I knew hot sauce. I liked hot sauce, and I knew a lot of people that did also. But what I didn't know was bubbling beneath the surface in 2015 was this craft hot sauce movement. I was unaware of it until I actually got more into the business, but it happened to be the same time that a show called Hot Ones appeared in 2015. And it's a show where they interview celebrities while they're eating increasingly hot sauce on chicken wings. And so when I launched, many of people that would come to my booths and buy my product, they would always say, "Oh, you should get on Hot Ones." And it's this big show on YouTube, and now more recently on Hulu. I believe it's the streaming service. And I didn't know how to get on Hot Ones, or so I didn't really even consider it. But in 2019, one of my customers from Brooklyn, New York, called Heatonist, called me and asked if I could deliver 12,000 bottles of habanero to them.
Oh, that's
And
quite the order, right, for a small
Yeah.
business.
Normally their orders were like 100. And so I assumed it was a corporate order, like a gifting type project. So I called my co-packer, the chef that I mentioned earlier, and asked if we can produce 12,000. He said yes. I called him back and said, yes, we can do it. And then I asked him, why do you need 12,000 bottles? And he said, well, we're considering your bottle for the Hot Ones show for season 9. And so I had to ship 24 bottles, like basically buy a plane seat to ship 24 bottles to the production team overnight. And the next day they called me back and said, I'm on. So that was a major exposure for the brand.
And so with that, again, we're speaking with Don Button. He's the founder of Hellfire Detroit, a company that is based here locally. Do you still make your product here locally? I believe, Royal Oak?
Yeah, the business office and storage area or room is in Royal Oak, but the kitchen is in Warren.
And so,
And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, sure. So when I developed this, I knew I didn't want to be the person in the kitchen, and it's just not my expertise. So, I mean, I'm good in the kitchen in a home, but not from a manufacturing perspective. So I worked with the co-packer and chef, and they are a food production facility, but all small batch, handmade products. So, and that kitchen is in Warren.
So how do you come up with your recipes?
That I do at home and in the kitchen, so for my first recipe that I launched, my whole goal was I just wanted it to be as pure to the pepper character and not confuse it with any other flavors or what I would call gimmicky type hot sauces. So it's the first 4 bottles I released are fire roasted chilies, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, sea salt, and water. So when you put that on your meal, it's almost like you fire roasted a pepper on the grill, but you didn't have to deal with all that. So it's really true to the character of the pepper.
Where do you get your peppers, by the way?
We get our peppers from all over. So we always try to get from Michigan during the harvest season. That would be in September. But different peppers come from different places. So habanero, a lot will come from Mexico. Cherry bomb peppers will come from the East Coast down, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina. Manzana is a really interesting pepper. It's from South America, and it grows at a elevation of 7,000 to 10,000 feet. Really unique pepper. Kind of my favorite of the bunch, but I love them all. But just really interesting flavor profile. But we can only get it from there. I've tried to have farmers in the South try to grow manzanas, and they just can't do it. It has something to do with the elevation and the thinness of the air.
What an education on peppers that you've had over the past few years. And if I can ask you to, I know that you have several brands. If you go on your website, what's your favorite?
As I mentioned, I think if they were all sitting on the table, I would grab Manzana. And it's just such a unique flavor. And I always tell people, like, I can almost guarantee that you've never tasted anything like this. And everybody responds like they agree, but they like it. It's really unique flavor, and complements fish or like shrimp or even tacos or any kind of food, but it's a little bit more exotic, I would describe it as.
And how many different flavors do you have right now?
So now I have 9 flavors. Last year, I released what I call the boozy line. And so this one is a little bit more complex flavor profiles, where I introduced one sauce has bourbon, one sauce has beer, and one sauce has Cabernet. I launched this during the pandemic, which was a challenge. But actually Hot Ones picked up the bourbon. It's called Bourbon Habanero Ghost, to be on season 13 of Hot Ones. So that was also a great opportunity, and just really helped the business through the pandemic also, because a lot changed last year in terms of revenue streams.
So we can talk about that for a minute. Again, we're speaking with Don Button. He's the founder for Hellfire Detroit. And Don, what has it been like for you over the past year during the pandemic as a small business? The great thing, it is made in Michigan and it's promoted through the state of Michigan, but we've all had to deal with the supply chain disruptions over the past year.
Yeah. Well, 2020 started out pretty rough for the business in terms of, like, all our events were canceled. And that's a big part of being a small business, especially like a food business, where the main form of marketing is going to events, and I would say farmers markets, festivals, and letting people taste it. And then they become the word of mouth of the product. So all that went away last year, which was not good. And then also the tendency in the beginning of the pandemic was everybody was buying more like staples, like kind of everybody's freaking out. And so they're not really thinking of like these gourmet type items to, stock the shelves. So the other part of it is a lot of my store sales went down because people weren't going into the stores. And if they were buying staple items. And a lot of the specialty retailers, they have online ordering, but they don't have like the full catalog up on their website. So my product's not available online for their online ordering, typically, I would say. So you know what, I just looked at the pandemic as an opportunity, as like, okay, I can't go to the events. I'm going to have less store orders to fulfill, but what can I do? So I try to work on a bunch of like back burner projects that every business has. And then I also decided I want to try to spend my time developing a new, more complex flavor profile hot sauce, which I call the boozy line. And so I worked on that. And then I reached out to Hot Ones, let them know what I was doing. They were interested. And then I sent them samples, and they picked up the Bourbon Habanero Ghost for season 13. So, and then they placed a really big order. So it actually, 2020 ended up being my biggest year yet, which is kind of hard to understand, but it ended up being good. So
That's great to hear because we love to support local. And if I can ask you, just because we all know Hell, Michigan, please
Yeah.
tell me you sell your Hellfire Detroit in Hell, Michigan, right? I
You
mean,
know,
that's like marketing gold. You're a marketing guy.
yeah. I don't know if I do or not. I have a few distributors that may distribute to stores in Michigan, or I'm sorry, in Hell, Michigan. Um, I am in, with the distributors, I am in about 300 stores in Michigan, and that would be specialty grocers and gift shops. The product does really well in gift shops, or, like even places up north where people are visiting, and home warming gifts and stuff like that. So,
It is a great gift. Anytime that you can try to specialize a gift and not just buy the typical stuff that you know is going to end up at the back of their pantry, try to get
yeah,
them something local. And Don, I'm going to tell you next winter, when it's like 20 below, you and I are going to Hell, Michigan.
Oh, boy.
And we're
Okay.
going to have your hot sauce in Hell, Michigan. Come on, tell me that's
Yeah,
not
we'll see you
perfect.
in
When
Hell.
it's like 20 below zero, that's perfect. When Hell freezes over.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
we're going to heat it
What
up.
better time to be in hell?
I have a decent social media following. We
Sure,
we can
you can
get
do it.
a few extra likes out of that.
sure, I'll be there.
There you go. Well, it's been great having you. And again, I know you also have a website, but a lot of times, like you said, you can find it in the local grocery stores as
Sure.
well. I believe Woodward on the corner, that Meyer specialty Meyer store, I believe they have it. But people can order it online as well.
Yeah, so I always encourage people to support brick and mortar local stores. They supported me in the beginning and believed in it, but it's not always convenient to get it that way. So we ship anywhere at hellfiredetroit.com. So it's just the name, and we ship within a day or two. So you'll get it pretty quick, and
Great.
we ship all around many countries, and it's kind of crazy. People will they'll buy a $18 bottle of hot sauce and pay $28 in shipping. I don't get it, but that's all right.
That's okay, but you're that in demand. But it's also great to be able to share a little bit of home as well for people that maybe have moved away. Or you
For
want
sure.
to share Michigan with them. So, Don,
Yeah.
it's been great having you with us, and we wish you continued success as well.
Thank you. Thanks for supporting local businesses.